Aloha, Richard Halverson here. This is ICS321, and today is March 5th. And we are in about week 8 or week 9, week 8, I think. And so let me share my screen real quick. 2. And let's see, last week, we finished up sections, chapter 4, except for, I believe we did not finish this. We actually did not finish, sorry, we're here. Section, well, we're in this week, but last week we did not quite finish. In video 8, we did not finish section 4.11. And that was basically just these complex queries section. And here we just go through a bunch of these exercises, which sort of give us practice or give us a hint, or basically just show us how you can join these tables together. You know, let's see, we already covered joins back in chapter 2, but these are actually putting them together, coming up with the actual join statements to answer some questions. And we actually are not in these participation exercises activities. We're not actually asked to create the select statements because they give it to us, but we can fiddle around with them. This textbook here, we actually are able to create a whole database here with data in it, and then run select statements here down at the bottom. And so what we're going to do is for each one of these, we're going to copy this select statement, and we're going to go through it and make sure we understand it, run it, and then answer a couple of questions here. And that's all this last section is about. So let's do that. And so starting at the top here, writing complex queries. So here we have an example of a bookstore, and it's called the Zion Bookstore. And you can imagine how a database for the bookstore might look. You have a database. You have all your books in a table, or you have all your books in there. You also have a bunch of customers. You have customers in your database, and you're probably also going to have an author table, because customers might come in and ask for books by author, and you may buy books by author, and you may want to know author information about authors rather than just book information about books and publishers and so on. So, and then you would have these tables here, which would connect, these tables that connect authors to books, and it's a sort of a many-to-many thing. Book sales to customers. Of course, you can have, you can have a customer can buy a book twice, for example, same book twice, and that might be a different sale and so on. So these two inside tables here are similar to the in supplier parts database. This would be the SP table showing shipments, for example. So indicate the given table's data that indicate if a given table contains data relevant to the Zion's book, relevant to this question. Okay, so we have this question, and we're supposed to identify which tables are relevant to answering this question. So here, we're actually, let's say we're going to write a select statement, and then we'd be joining tables together. Which tables would be required if we wanted to know which books written by some author generated the most sales to customers sales to customers in particular states, particular time, date. So date comes from sale. State comes from customer. Sales would be sales table. Books would be the book table. A single author, the fact, or the all the books written by the same author, you only need the book author table. You don't actually need the author table itself, because with the book author table, you know which authors, in fact, you don't even need the book author table, do you? Oh, yes, you do. You need the book author table because it's the book author table that connects the author to the book. It's not the case that you have the book. See, the book does not connect directly to the author. Why? I suppose because there can be more than one author for a book, and you can have different combinations of authors participating in different books and so on. So it would definitely be a many-to-many type relationship. So you'd need a table in the middle here. So anyway, you definitely don't need the author table. You need the book author table, so you don't need the author table, but you do need the book author table, because that's the only way you know the author of a book. So anyway, this is true, and then of course you need the rest of these. All right, so now we're going to look at how we join tables to answer some of these questions. So here, the first one: to answer the Zion bookstore question, the result table must contain columns from the previously identified tables. The result table should contain the customer state, it should contain the book ID, it should contain the title, and the number of books purchased in that sale, and then the total price. Well, I wonder why we're doing the total. Well, anyway, we'll see. Okay, so here's a nice schema for a nice book here, a nice database here for this particular bookstore. And here's an SQL statement that they say, run a query that does this. So let's take this query here, and let's go down here and run it. Paste it here, and let's run it and see what happens. And so we have this nice table here that's got books, titles. Okay, so what are the questions we need to answer? A customer from which state purchased the most copies of Grant Me 3 Wishes? Customers or customer? Okay, these are single sales. So it would be a single customer with a single sale. I'm just going to put the customer ID here. I'm going to throw in CUST ID. Can I just do that? Okay, single customer. Okay, so the question is, a customer from which state purchased the most copies of Grant Me 3 Wishes? I'm only interested in Grant Me 3 Wishes. So it's a customer in here. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to do sort by where title is like Grant Me It's okay if it's funny case. Matter. We do this, we get wonder why it doesn't like that. Oh, it's because that's there. All right, so these are all the grant me 3 wishes. And so we have a customer, or which customer from which state purchased the most copies. Okay, so we got a customer, here's a customer number 7 that purchased 3 copies from Colorado. So it's this one. All right. Does lost time always sell for the same price? Right here, I'm going to throw in lost. Oops. Lost. Oh, I want just unit price, don't I? I want this. No, it does not. All right, grouping by state in book. So we're talking about for a particular book in a particular state. So for a particular state, all the sales of a particular book, for a particular book, all of the sales in a particular state. Okay, so so that's what this is. Use the sum function group by clause. Let me copy this and go down here and do a paste. And let's see what I get. Okay, so book 103 in Colorado, which is this book. Yeah, 103 is Grant Me 3 Wishes. 104 is the last attempt, yes. So in Colorado, there were 5 copies of Grant Me 3 Wishes that were sold. In Oklahoma, on the other hand, there were only 2 copies sold. Anyway, so that's that. And what do we need? What are we asking for? Oh, by the way, I should go over these select statements here to explain them. Okay, so here we are. You may be wondering what these letters are. No, you're not wondering. But okay, so because sometimes file names can get long and cumbersome, table names can get long and cumbersome, we can create aliases. And so the alias follows the name of the table. It immediately follows that, and that's the alias. And then every place else, like when you want to identify certain columns in that table, you can just prefix the column name with the alias instead of using the whole name of the table. So here, like this is s.bookid. Well, that's the book ID field in the sale table. And here customer is C. And so this state, for example, is the state field in the customer table. So that's what those are. B has an alias of a book has an alias of B. And oh, by the way, you may notice that this word as is optional. You can have as there or not. However, if you want to do as up in the select, or if you want to do an alias for a column name, you have to use the word as. This is an alias for a table name. this is an alias for this. You're defining a column name. All right, you know, you can just, you could call this as T if you wanted to, and then after that you refer to it as just T, even though it's just a simple column that you're renaming. And by the way, in a where clause, let's say there was a where clause here. You cannot use the aliases of the columns. You have to actually use the columns. But you can use the aliases for the tables, it turns out. So anyway, let's see what these questions are. Which book has sold the most copies in a single state? Sold the most copies. I guess this is sorted by sales. Anyway, it looks like Grant Me Three Wishes would be the answer. Colorado. Yes, this one. Which alternation of the group by clause merges all states quantities together to review the total number of copies of each book? To review the total number of copies of each book has sold. So, so you just want to know by book the total number of copies. You want to merge the states and the quantities together. So it doesn't matter what state it's from. You just are interested in the quantity because you want to, you basically want to add up all the quantities for a book. It doesn't matter what the state is. You just want to add up all the quantities for a book. So that means you would probably group by book. This doesn't make sense because, I didn't mean to click on it. That doesn't make sense because how do you group by quantity anyway? I mean, the quantities are all going to be different. Well, actually, I guess unless you wanted to group by how many sold just one copy, how many sold two copies. Grouping by state. This would separate out one for each state, a copy. So anyway, it's not that either. It's this one. All right, filtering states by dates. Filtering states and dates. Okay, so add a where clause to restrict the results table to sales from Colorado and Oklahoma. Use the month and year functions to select only states in month 2 and year 2020. Oh, I see. So this is, there's a date. Where's the date? Ah, look at this nice big date here. Date for the sales. And we are wanting to extract out the month field and the year field. So that would be the month field and the year field of the date. Okay, well, so let's copy this and put it down here. Paste. And let's run it. See what we get. So we should only get Colorado and Oklahoma, and we should only get February of 2020. I'm going to throw in the date. What is it? S dot date, just because I want to see what it is, just to confirm. What did I? It's not called date. I guess I can't display the date because, but what I can do, if I do this, group cat s date, see what that does. Okay, so these are the dates. Yes, they are all, in fact, in February of 2020. Well, that's great. Okay. So what are the questions? Removing the month, date, and from the query increases the rows and columns of the table. Well, of course it does. It's going to do it. Then it's going to do all of them. Yeah. Let's okay. Let's look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. Removing this. Cut. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yes, I guess it does increase it. Let me just put this back here. Oh, it didn't work. Oh, there it is. Okay, so true. This is true. Removing the parentheses around that changes nothing in the result table. It actually does because of operator precedence. So what this does is this will display out anything from the state of Colorado. From the state of Colorado in any month, in any year, or from the state of Oklahoma and February 2020, because these ands have precedence over the or. And so this will all be done first, and that would be OR'd with this. So if we run this, we see that 1, 2, 3, 4. Anyway, so we've got a 2020. Man, there's no examples, though, is there? There's not even any examples. Really? Okay, I'm gonna. So this 2, 3, 4, 4, and it's because all of the Colorado sales were in February. Is that right? Colorado is the oh shoot, we can't even tell that, can we? Okay, well, I'm going to say no, it doesn't because of the way the data is. But what does it say? It's true. Removing the parentheses changes how the where clause is evaluated, and has higher precedence over or. So that's evaluated before that. Well, but the problem is the data did not show that. So in fact, well, anyway, you know what I mean. I'm going to change one of these change the date of one of the sales. Let's find one of these Colorado sales here. Here's the black box in February of 20, black box, which is a book ID 100. one of them. Book ID 100, one of them. Book ID, which is the second one, 100. This one. This one. Quantity of 1. I'm going to change this to March 1st. Now it'll be different. This is what the data should have been to begin with. So if we put back the parentheses and we run this, we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They're all in February. Now, if we get rid of these parentheses, we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, because this one is included. This one in March is included because the condition that it be February only applies to Oklahoma and not Colorado. So anyway, that's that. So all right, books by single author. The result table should contain only books with a single author. A row in the book author assigns one author to one book. A row with, that means author 5, row book 103. Books with multiple authors have multiple rows. So a subquery that examines the number of rows in book author for a given book ID can limit the results to just single author books. Subquery that examines the number of rows in book author for a given book ID. Yes, okay. Well, okay, let's see what this does. Oh, look, there's actually a select statement within a select statement. That's pretty cool. Let's see how this works. Paste. I'm going to run this just to see what it looks like. Okay, so do I put the all right, so this thing looks at all of the book author rows, all of the book author records in the book author table, and by grouping on book ID, and then I can do that, huh? By grouping on book ID, you're going to get okay, so you get records. You get books that have more than one record. If a book ID in book author has more than one record, that means it has more than one author. And so if we group by book ID and count up in each one, we only want the ones where there's only one book author record for that book ID, because then we know it's only one author. So that's what this select statement does. So I'm gonna first of all, I'm gonna copy this, and I'm gonna see what happens if I'm gonna try this. What happens if I paste this and then put a semicolon and do that? Will it actually do 2 select statement executions? It does. Very nice. Okay, so these are the books having count number 1. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna say sum as num, comma, this group ID. I'm not going to have this having count equals 1. I'm going to get rid of that for now. run it. So this actually counts them up. And so it's this num field here where I actually sum up the number of records in each group and put that there. So really what I'm looking for is you know, I can put having num equal 1. That'll work. It's the same thing as what they had. See, so now I just have the ones that are 1. So it's only going to be these book IDs that come out of this. Is this going to work? Let's see, is this going to work? So I've got, so 2 things are coming back. Oh, by the way, does it work? I think it does work. So, oh, it's because I'm doing that. Is select in if ID is in this set. So I see this set coming back has got to be, I wonder if I can, yeah. I guess I have to do it this way because I have to return a single records with only one value, one field in each one, because I'm using it as an int. So it's like it's coming back as a set. So let's see what happens if I do this. Select book ID from that. What does this look like? What's this going to look like? Do I need to do this? It's going to want to have an alias. All right, I'm going to call it A for alias. Does that work? Yeah. Okay, so this gives me that. All right, so I wonder if that'll work then. Okay, so I'm going to put this inside here. See if it works. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4, 4, 2, 1, 1. Okay, yes, it looks the same. And so here I've nested 3 deep. I've got a select inside of a select inside of a select. Well, anyway, that's clever, isn't it? Okay, which book has the largest total sales from a single state? Largest totals. Oh, must be this one. Oak. Oh, last attempt, Oklahoma. 4. Yeah, this one. Okay. What effect does changing the subquery to having count equals 2 do? Well, I guess I can just do this. Only books with 2 authors are selected. Yeah, I guess that's what it does. Only books that sell 2 copies are selected. No, it'd be authors. Be interesting to put that in there, though, wouldn't it? But anyway, All right, so it'd be only with 2 authors, so that's the answer. All right, well, anyway, that looks pretty good. I think I've covered the last section, section 4.11, and this is just going to help you get through the participation exercise activities in this section, but it should give you a good understanding of how you go about putting these select statements together, nesting them and joining tables to get yourself to gradually, to work your way to answer the questions that you need to answer for whatever project you're working on. So I will next week we'll start chapter 5, and I will relate. It'll be a lot easier to relate chapter 5 to the different kinds of programming that we're doing in this class, and we're going to be doing all these kinds. And so stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching.